A country shrouded in mystery, where the cost of living is surprisingly low, yet remains out of reach for most travelers. A place where the streets are almost devoid of cars, but where some of the most beautiful traffic police gracefully manage the flow of traffic with poise and precision. A nation where life is steeped in ancient traditions, from architecture and clothing to daily routines. But it is also a land governed by some of the strictest and most unique laws on the planet. All of this can only be found in North Korea. Join us as we embark on a journey to explore life in the most enigmatic and closed-off country in the world in today's travel documentary. Located on the Korean peninsula, right next to its wealthy neighbor South Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, is one of the most mysterious countries on Earth. Covering an area of about 46,500 miles, equivalent to the state of Mississippi in the U.S., North Korea is bordered by China, Russia, and South Korea, and boasts a coastline of over 1,550 miles along the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. Interestingly, despite being surrounded by water, the people here have rarely set foot in the sea, let alone traveled abroad. While the world is more connected than ever, the citizens of North Korea live in a bubble where concepts like Google, iPhones, or Starbucks are completely foreign to them. The climate in North Korea is extremely harsh, with bone-chilling winters where temperatures can drop below 22 degrees F or 30 degrees C. While summers are hot and humid akin to Florida, snow blankets much of the territory in winter, creating stunning scenery. However, this also poses significant challenges for transportation and agriculture. Many areas still face frequent power outages, making life vastly different from the bright, bustling cities like New York or London. North Korea has a population of about 26 million people, most of whom are concentrated in the capital city, Pyongyang. This city is one of the most meticulously planned in the world. To live here, one can't simply buy a house or rent an apartment. Only citizens chosen by the state based on loyalty, achievements, and family background are allowed to settle in the capital. This makes Pyongyang one of the most refined cities in terms of its population. The people here are all ethnically Korean and speak Korean as their primary language. Interestingly, their language has developed differently from South Korea over the past 70 years. Some vocabulary and pronunciations may seem unfamiliar, even to modern South Koreans. North Koreans believe that the entire Korean peninsula is a unified nation. If you hold a world map in any country, you'll see both North and South Korea divided into two nations: the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, and the Republic of Korea, South Korea. However, North Koreans are adamant that there is only one unified Korea. Any map in the schools of this country depicts a united nation with its capital in Pyongyang. While people on both sides, unification is a dream many have, but the reality of achieving this is incredibly challenging. North Korea is largely known through media portrayals. It is only by visiting that you can gain a genuine insight into this country, where the past, present, and future seem to intertwine in a way that is unlike anywhere else in the world. There is something special about time in North Korea that you need to know. If you set foot here, you won't see the year 2025 anywhere. Instead, all calendars, signs, and even official documents use the Juche calendar, a unique system only found in North Korea. Soon, North Korea will enter the year 114, as they do not count years according to the Gregorian calendar like the rest of the world, but rather from the birth year of Kim Il-sung, the nation's founding leader. If you're accustomed to the globally used Gregorian calendar, the North Korean calendar feels like living in an entirely different timeline. Most travelers arriving in North Korea by plane will land at Sunan International Airport and head straight to the capital, Pyongyang. As soon as you arrive, you will feel a completely different atmosphere compared to any city in the world. Pyongyang has a beauty marked by order and discipline, with tall buildings lined up closely together, creating a modern appearance that's not as frantic as New York or Tokyo. Hundreds of apartment buildings rise from 25 to 35 stories throughout the city, but notably, many of these buildings lack elevators, forcing residents to climb numerous flights of stairs. If you live on the 30th floor and have to walk down hundreds of stairs every day to catch the bus, your health will either improve significantly or you'll be exhausted. The people of Pyongyang rarely use personal vehicles. Instead, they primarily get around using the subway, double-decker buses, trams, and taxis. During rush hours, public transport is always packed. Amazingly, despite hundreds of people waiting, no one pushes or shoves. There are no chaotic traffic jams like in Los Angeles or London. The streets of Pyongyang remain clean, clear, and orderly. The only thing missing from the streets of Pyongyang is motorcycles. While in other Asian cities like Bangkok or Hanoi, motorcycles are everywhere, here you won't see a single one. Beneath Pyongyang lies the world's deepest subway station at 110 meters underground. It can also serve as a bomb shelter thanks to its sturdy construction and steel-reinforced doors. Passengers spend about 3.5 minutes going from ground level to the station via escalator. Being so deep underground, this station maintains a constant temperature of 18 degrees Celsius year-round, regardless of the weather, making it a popular choice for many residents. There are no bustling street food stalls on the streets of North Korea, but you might come across tidy little stands where school children in red scarves gather to buy ice cream and candy. Although there is no widespread internet access, people still intently stare at their phone screens, a familiar sight in any city around the world. But here, they only access pre-approved domestic websites. On the streets, you can easily spot North Korean women sporting various modern hairstyles, dressed in elegant, stylish outfits that are relatively diverse in color and type. They wear badges featuring the two leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, pinned to their chests, along with high heels and light makeup. Interestingly, if you visit North Korea, you'll notice that all citizens wear badges featuring their leaders. But don't be tempted to wear one yourself, as foreign tourists could face imprisonment for doing so. Not following Western trends, North Korean women maintain a graceful beauty with smooth white skin, bright eyes, shiny black hair, and gentle smiles. Whether you stroll along Kim Il-sung Avenue, cross expansive squares, or descend into the world's deepest subway station, you will see groups of women, arm in arm, chatting animatedly or covering their mouths with laughter. Even when rushing to work or moving through the streets, women maintain an upright posture, walking confidently and somewhat proudly. They rarely seem hurried, not rushing like in New York or Paris, but instead exuding a calm, deliberate demeanor that is still full of confidence. The most striking feature on the streets of North Korea is the beautiful traffic police. In many countries, traffic officers are selected based on health, situational handling skills, and legal knowledge. However, in North Korea, it's different. In North Korea, to become a female traffic officer, you must meet 3 criteria: height, vision, and beauty. In Pyongyang, traffic police not only regulate vehicles, but are also seen as a symbol of the city. They are typically young, tall, sharp-looking women dressed in neat blue and white uniforms. Wearing their caps hardily, they stand straight at major intersections, directing traffic with decisive, powerful, yet graceful movements. Even though the streets of Pyongyang have very few cars, these female officers are always present. They are a quintessential feature of the city. If you look closely, you will notice another remarkable sight on the streets of North Korea: the presence of young men in military uniforms. This is a familiar and essential image in this country. It's no coincidence that they appear so frequently. Nearly every young man over the age of 18 is required to serve in the military for up to 10 years, while women must serve until at least the age of 23. Military service is not just a duty, it is a part of daily life, contributing to a society that is highly disciplined and militarized. Compared to the US, where military service is entirely voluntary, or South Korea, where it lasts only 18 to 21 months, this figure is quite impressive. With over 1 million regular soldiers and 6 million paramilitary personnel, the North Korean military ranks among the largest forces on the planet. Notably, about 1 in 4 people here is connected to the military. You might wonder why there are so few cars on the streets. Cars on the streets of North Korea are a rare sight. In a country with a population of over 25 million people, you would expect to see millions of vehicles on the road every day. However, in reality, there are only about 30,000 active cars throughout North Korea. This makes it one of the countries with the lowest car ownership rates in the world. The reason is that only government officials and military personnel are allowed to own private cars. Most citizens get around by subway, bus, or bicycle. On the streets of Pyongyang, you might still spot high-end models like Mercedes-Benz or Toyota, even though these brands have no official dealerships in North Korea. Officials in the country are said to favor Mercedes-Benz. Surprisingly, many Volvo 144s from the 1970s are still on the road because North Korea imported them but never paid for them. In reality, North Korea is not entirely dependent on imported vehicles. The country has its own automotive industry with a history dating back to the 1950s. The Sunrar motor plant once focused on producing military vehicles for wartime, later transitioned to assembling models inspired by Volkswagen, Mercedes, and various other international brands. However, due to its closed economy, domestic North Korean cars are largely unknown beyond its borders. North Korean leaders have the privilege of owning any vehicle they desire. Depending on their rank, they can drive anything from an Audi R8 and Rolls-Royce to a Range Rover, some of the most luxurious cars in the world. Kim Jong-un is particularly noted for his rare collection of luxury vehicles. Importing cars into North Korea, however, is not a straightforward process. Economically, North Korea operates under a centrally planned economic model, a system that is still rare in today's world. The state controls everything from production and distribution to consumption. This means that while an American can easily order from Amazon and receive their package within a day, in North Korea, most goods are distributed according to government plans. Owning an imported item like a can of Coca-Cola can be a luxury for ordinary citizens. In North Korea, 3 essential services, housing, healthcare, and education, are provided for free. Additionally, citizens do not have to pay for utilities. Their wages are primarily used for food and clothing expenses. As a result, North Korea is one of the few economies in the world that does not collect taxes. So, how does this affect the cost of living in North Korea? Living in North Korea presents a unique economic landscape, markedly different from Western nations. The average monthly cost of living is approximately $1,597, about 32% lower than in the United States. Housing is significantly more affordable, with rent averaging 79.9% less than in the US. A 45 square meter furnished studio in a standard area costs around 900,000 North Korean won per month. However, exact conversion to US dollars is difficult due to limited exchange rate information. Utility bills, including heating, are also included in this calculation. Electricity and gas for 2 people in an 85 square meter apartment amount to approximately 120,000 won monthly. Food prices are, on average, 26.4% lower than in the US. However, detailed pricing for individual grocery items remains scarce. Public transportation is the primary mode of travel, with costs significantly lower than in Western countries. But exact figures are not readily available. Additional expenses such as gym memberships and dental care are difficult to estimate due to the country's controlled economy and limited commercial services. While North Korea's cost of living is lower than in the United States, the restricted availability of financial data and the closed nature of the economy make precise comparisons challenging. With these costs in mind, would you choose this place to settle down? If yes, choose 1. If no, choose 0. Please share your answer in the comments. In Pyongyang, you can also explore grand structures of global significance. One of the most impressive destinations is the Rangger Mayday Stadium, the largest stadium in the world with a capacity of up to 150,000 people. Built in 1989, the stadium is not only the venue for football matches but also hosts the M-Games, a spectacular event in North Korea featuring tens of thousands of participants. This is one of the most impressive synchronized performances on the planet, showcasing the unity and strength of the country. Pyongyang is also home to the Rong Hotel, one of the most unique, iconic buildings in the world. Shaped like the pyramid and standing stories tall, this building held the title of the tallest hotel in the world for 20 years. Designed to have over 7,600 rooms and a revolving restaurant on top, Ryong is an ambitious project that reflects North Korea's vision. Although it is not fully operational, this building remains one of the most distinctive architectural highlights in Pyongyang. Additionally, along the Taedong River, Kim Il-sung Square is the largest square in North Korea and the 16th largest in the world, covering an area of 75,000 square meters. Capable of accommodating 100,000 people, this is where grand parades are held and serves as a central location for many significant national events. Opposite the square stands the Jew Tower, one of the most prominent symbols of Pyongyang, representing the country's political philosophy. As night falls, Pyongyang dawns a mysterious and distinct beauty on the vast streets. The flickering streetlight creates intriguing patches of light and shadow. People continue to move about. Life goes on, but everything seems to be enveloped in a rare atmosphere of calm and tranquility, not commonly found in other world capitals. The tall buildings limit electricity use, revealing only scattered illuminated windows, creating a scene that is both nostalgic and enigmatic. Most festivals in North Korea take place in Pyongyang, showcasing grand performances rich in national identity. One of the most unique celebrations in the world is the Day of the Sun, April 15th, commemorating the birthday of the late Chairman Kim Il-sung, is not just a holiday, but a massive national event. It features military parades, dazzling fireworks, and the largest synchronized performances on the planet, with tens of thousands of participants performing simultaneously in the stadium. Additionally, the Arirang Mass Games has been recorded in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest collective performance in the world. It involves over 100,000 dancers, athletes, and performers. Particularly striking is a living mural created by tens of thousands of students, transforming the entire stadium into a giant picture that continuously changes with each movement. Beyond national events, North Korea also hosts traditional cultural festivals like the Lunar New Year and the Lantern Festival. During these festivals, people release hundreds of brightly lit lanterns into the sky, creating a rare and picturesque scene. North Korean cuisine will also leave a lasting impression on you. A special aspect of North Korean food is its perfect balance of spicy, salty, sour, and sweet flavors, creating unforgettable culinary experiences. If you've heard of kimchi, the world-famous fermented pickled dish, you'll be even more surprised to learn that North Korea boasts hundreds of different kimchi varieties, each region having its own unique recipe. One of the must-try specialties for visitors is naengmyeon, or Pyongyang cold noodles. This traditional dish dates back to the Joseon dynasty and is typically served in a bowl of chilled beef bone broth accompanied by cucumbers, boiled eggs, and sliced beef. Compared to Japanese ramen or Italian spaghetti, North Korean cold noodles offer a completely different experience with their light taste and chewy buckwheat noodles. Notably, Taedong beer is a source of pride for North Koreans, regarded as one of the best beers in East Asia. Produced in a brewery utilizing technology imported from the UK, Taedong has a rich flavor that rivals that of premium craft beers from Europe. If you get the chance, you should enjoy a cold beer alongside bulgogi, one of the most flavorful and enticing dishes in North Korea. To fully enjoy your journey of exploration in North Korea, you need to be aware of the following rules. Tourists are not allowed to use won. While many countries prioritize visitors using their local currency for expenses, North Korea is not one of them. Although won is the local currency, foreign tourists must use one of three currencies: Euros, USD, or Chinese yuan, with a preference for Euros. It's important to note that taking one out of North Korea is illegal. Don't be surprised if locals behave coldly, silently, or even avoid you. This is not because they are unfriendly, but rather because interacting with foreigners is an extremely sensitive issue in North Korea. While there is no law stating that a citizen will be penalized for speaking with tourists, the government's strict control makes most people hesitant to engage. If you attempt to strike up a conversation, be aware of this sensitivity. If you attempt to strike up a conversation or take photos of someone, they may quickly walk away to avoid trouble. Another special point is that tourists cannot freely take photos of everything as they wish. The tour guide, who will always be with you, has the authority to prevent you from taking pictures if the content is deemed sensitive. Old bridges, unfinished structures, or even scenes of people queuing outside a store may be prohibited from being photographed. Particularly, anything related to the military is strictly off-limits for filming. When photographing statues of the two leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, tourists must capture the entire figure without cropping and should not take photos from behind to show respect. It is estimated that North Korea has around 34,000 statues of the late leader, Kim Il-sung, meaning there is one statue approximately every 3-5 kilometers. Therefore, if you have the chance to visit North Korea, remember that your camera is not always welcomed as it would be at other tourist destinations around the world. Having heard all this, you might be thinking about planning a trip to North Korea or retiring there to uncover its mysteries. Don't forget to prepare your documents and visa application for traveling to North Korea. Visitors to North Korea can only enter from Russia or China. These are the countries where you can obtain a North Korean visa. Some cities in China have flights to North Korea, but the quickest route is still from Beijing. In Russia, visitors can only fly from Vladivostok. Rather isolated, the city offers scenic views that can be enjoyed by opting to take a train from Beijing. Navigating the visa process for North Korea requires careful planning, especially for us and European travelers. For us citizens, travel to North Korea has been heavily restricted since 2017. The U.S. Department of State has enforced a travel ban, rendering us passports invalid for travel to, in or through North Korea without special validation, which is rarely granted. European citizens, on the other hand, have a more straightforward, though still controlled, process. Independent travel is generally not permitted. Visitors must join organized tours through approved travel agencies. The visa application typically requires a completed form, a passport-sized photo, and a copy of the passport. Processing times can vary, but it's advisable to submit applications at least 1.5 months before the intended departure. It's important to note that North Korea does not have specific visa categories for those wishing to retire or reside long-term in the country. The nation's visa policies are primarily geared toward short-term tourism or official business, with stringent regulations and oversight. Prospective visitors should thoroughly research and adhere to all requirements, keeping in mind that policies can change and diplomatic relations may impact travel permissions. We have explored living in North Korea together. Thank you for watching the entire travel documentary. From amazing discoveries we hope you will join us on our next journeys to explore the world. See you again.